Judgment is a tool to use on all subjects, and comes in everywhere. Therefore, in the test that I make of it here, I use every sort of occasion. If it is a subject I do not understand at all, even on that I essay my judgment, sounding the ford from a good distance, and then, finding it too deep for my height, I stick to the bank. And this acknowledgment that I cannot cross over is a token of its action. Indeed, one of those it is most proud of. Sometimes in a vain and non-existent subject, I try to see if it will find the wherewithal to give it body, prop it up, and support it. Sometimes I lead it to a noble and well-worn subject in which it has nothing original to discover, the road being so beaten that it can walk only in others' footsteps. There it plays its part by choosing the way that seems best to it, and of 1,000 paths it says that this one or that one was the most wisely chosen. I take the first subject that chance offers. They are all equally good to me, and I never plan to develop them completely, for I do not see the whole of anything, nor do those who promise to show it to us. Of 100 members and faces that each thing has, I take one, sometimes only to lick it, sometimes to brush the surface, sometimes to pinch it to the bone. I give it a stab, not as wide, but as deep as I know how. And most often, I like to take them from some unaccustomed point of view. I would venture to treat some matter thoroughly if I knew myself less well, scattering a word here, there another, samples separated from their context, dispersed, without a plan, without a promise. I am not bound to make something of them, or to adhere to them myself, without varying, when I please, and giving myself up to doubt and uncertainty, and my ruling quality, which is ignorance. Every moment reveals us. That same mind of Caesar's, which shows itself in ordering and directing the battle of Pharsalia, shows itself also in arranging idle and amorous affairs. We judge a horse not only by seeing him handled on a racecourse, but also by seeing him walk, and even by seeing him resting in the stable. Among the functions of the soul, there are some lowly ones. He who does not see that side of her also does not fully know her, and perhaps she is best observed when she goes at her simple pace. The winds of passion seize her more strongly on her lofty flights. Moreover, she gives all her being to each matter, and concentrates all her strength on it, and never treats more than one at a time. And she treats a matter not according to itself, but according to herself. Things in themselves may have their own weights and measures and qualities, but once inside, within us, she allots them their qualities as she sees fit. Death is frightful to Cicero, desirable to Cato, a matter of indifference to Socrates. Health, conscience, authority, knowledge, riches, beauty, and their opposites, all are stripped on entry, and receive from the soul new clothing, and the coloring that she chooses, brown, green, bright, dark, bitter, sweet, deep, superficial, in which each individual soul chooses, for they have not agreed together on their styles, rules, and forms. Each one is queen in her realm. Wherefore, let us no longer make the external qualities of things our excuse. It is up to us to reckon them as we will. Our good and our ill depend on ourselves alone. Let us offer our offerings and vows to ourselves, not to fortune. She has no power over our character. On the contrary, it drags her in its train and molds her in its own form. Why shall I not judge Alexander at table, talking and drinking his fill, or when he was playing chess? What sinew of his soul is not touched and employed in this silly imperial game? I hate it and avoid it, because it is not enough a game, and too serious an amusement. I am ashamed to devote to it the attention that would suffice to accomplish something good. He was no more absorbed when he prepared his glorious expedition to India, nor is this other an unraveling a passage on which depends the salvation of the human race. See how our mind swells and magnifies this ridiculous amusement, how all its muscles grow tense, what ample opportunity it here gives everyone to know himself and to judge himself rightly. In no other situation do I see and check up on myself more thoroughly. What passion does not excite us in this game? Anger, vexation, hatred, impatience, and a vehement ambition to win in a thing in which ambition to be beaten would be more excusable. For rare and extraordinary excellence in frivolous things is unbecoming a man of honor. What I say of this example may be said of all others. Each particle, each occupation of a man betrays him and reveals him just as well as any other. Democritus and Heraclitus were two philosophers, of whom the first, finding the condition of man vain and ridiculous, never went out in public but with a mocking and laughing face, whereas Heraclitus, having pity and compassion on the same condition of ours, wore a face perpetually sad, and eyes filled with tears. One always, when over his threshold stepped, laughed at the world. The other always wept. I prefer the first humor, not because it is pleasanter to laugh than to weep, but because it is more disdainful, and condemns us more than the other. And it seems to me that we can never be despised as much as we deserve. Pity and commiseration are mingled with some esteem for the thing we pity. The things we laugh at, we consider worthless. I do not think there is as much unhappiness in us as vanity, nor as much malice as stupidity. We are not so full of evil as of inanity. We are not as wretched as we are worthless. Thus, Diogenes, who pottered about by himself, rolling his tub and turning up his nose at the great Alexander, considering us as flies or bags of wind, was really a sharper and more stinging judge, and consequently juster, to my taste, than Timon, who was surnamed the hater of men. For what we hate, we take seriously. Timon wished us ill, passionately desired our ruin, shunned association with us as dangerous, as with wicked men depraved by nature. Diogenes esteemed us so little that contact with us could neither disturb him nor affect him, and avoided our company, not through fear of association with us, but through disdain of it. He considered us incapable of doing either good or evil. Of the same stamp was the reply of Statilius, whom Brutus asked to join the conspiracy against Caesar. He considered the enterprise just, but he did not believe that men were worth taking any trouble about. And this is in conformity with the teachings of Hegesias, who said that the wise man should do nothing except for himself, since he alone is worth having anything done for him. And that of Theodorus, that it is unjust for a wise man to risk his life for the good of his country, and endanger wisdom for the sake of fools. Our own peculiar condition is that we are just as fit to be laughed at as able to laugh.